Part 3, The Tax Man Cometh. So, employees pay taxes, as do other individuals, but when you earn a wage at a paying job, you'll get your gross taxable statement, which was your nets minus your what they took out after tax. And so when it comes to the end of the year, you'll need to file your federal income tax return, your 1040 form or 1040EZ if you don't make a lot of money. And so I said in the previous paycheck slides, or presentation, don't worry about the amount you're producing with the federal withholding. That's just a withholding number because they don't want to zap you at the end of the year for your big federal taxes, but you'll be paying it one way or another. So you'll take your gross taxable number, and you'll also have some taxable deductions. For people, you'll get a set number from the government for you. If you're married, you'll have you and your spouse, and you may have some dependents and stuff like that. But and other deductions such as charitable giving or housing interest and stuff like that if you own a house. Anyways, you'll get down to a net taxable number, which will be could be significantly less than what your gross taxable was. It often is. But usually 2/3 or something like that, or whatever it is. And then the way the taxes work, some people who are not learned don't really realize what taxes are or how they're applied. But it's always a tiered rate, and you can look up Wikipedia for this. But basically, there's 6 or 7 statuses or stages or scales, and the money value differs depending on your marital status and your dependents, but I've listed 10. The stages are always the same currently. They're 10, 15, 25, 28, 33, 35, and 39.6 if you make a ton of money. Most people are in the 25% bracket. Unless you're really young like a teenager, then you might be in the 10 and 15% bracket. But below that, I've listed in parentheses some of the single rate taxable people. So on the first $9,000 you make, you'll get taxed at a 10% rate, and then for the next next amount up to $37,000, so you can do a difference between those two, you get taxed at 15%, and then there's another. So it's not that if I make $90K worth of taxable income that I'll get 25% of that whacked. It's only the deltas between the first 9 would be a 10%, and so those are fixed numbers. The wiki explains that pretty good. But knowing what bracket you are in, knowing that every additional dollar you made, if you're making $60,000 worth of taxable income, every extra dollar you make, 25%, will go to your income tax to the government. So always important to kind of know this, but you need to learn about this. So at the end of the year, when you file for the year and you've been taking out those paycheck withholdings, eventually you'll get to total those up for all your paychecks for the year. They'll do it for you nicely in your W-2s or whatnot, and so you'll have a total amount that was withheld, and then based upon the scale, and they give you charts to do the scale a little bit easier, but a lot of online software does it for you now. You'll say, here's what you owe. So if you withheld more than you owe, then you will get a refund, and if you did not withhold enough compared to what you owe, you will have to cut a check to the government. But people always say, hey, I got a big tax return or whatever it is. All you did was overpay during the year or underpay during the year. It's the same amount for everybody depending upon what you earned. So don't get too excited about that type of thing. And in the big picture, you'll pay other taxes too. Most of these do not show up on your 1040, and you don't get your money back or expect to pay a certain amount, but I've listed some examples where taxes bite into the amount and cost of goods or things that you have. Property taxes if you own a house, and if you don't, if you're renting, then you're paying to somebody who pays property taxes. So in a roundabout way, you're paying property taxes. It's just billed into your rent. Stuff like sales tax, we all know about that at a young age. You go to the register with a dollar product and a dollar, ain't getting it. Got to pay the sales tax. Gas tax, that's kind of hidden because it's in the price, but it's a significant portion of your taxes. Not much you can do about sales tax, gas taxes. State income tax, that does show up on your state return, and I'm not quite sure about that, but whether you get it back or don't, I think you just pay it. But that might have withholding similar. I'm not in Florida where there's no state tax, so. Anyways, just realize that you do pay taxes for the benefit of everybody and roads and whatnot. So again, that's a portion of your check.